Welcome to Sacrilegious Discourse.
For this is what the Sovereign Lord says.
Why do you need prophets to tell people who you are and what you want?
If you can justify everything that the God of the Bible has done, then you can justify any of your behavior.
A lot of this mentality is trickling into what is now mainstream right-wing Christianity.
I am capable of empathy greater than this God of the Bible.
This is a Bible that they tell kids. This is the good Lord. This is the good book. He is fantasizing about murder, mass murder.
Head over to sacrilegiousdiscourse.com right now to find out how to leave us a review or support us on Patreon.
Hey there, sinners and saints. It's your favorite Bible-bashing duo from Sacrilegious Discourse, and we need your help.
That's right, folks. We're raising funds for some heavenly equipment and a studio that doesn't sound like it's in the depths of hell.
Our current setup, let's just say it's more apocalypse than audiophile.
So if you want to hear us dissect the Bible without the background noise of demonic squirrels, chip in a few bucks.
We're aiming for $5,000 to upgrade our audio and build a studio worthy of blasphemous banter.
Donate today and help us spread the good word of atheism.
You can find a link right on our homepage, sacrilegiousdiscourse.com. Every dollar counts.
Even if it's from your collection plate. Husband!
Wife!
Do you know what we're doing today?
Well, we got really confused about some shit.
So fucking confused, but not because we're dum-dums.
No.
So much as, I'm not saying we're not dum-dums.
I mean, there's that possibility.
So much as because of pronoun abuse.
Yeah, it's real. That's a thing that happens a lot in First Maccabees.
Yeah, and apparently it's a common complaint. So
I mean, holy shit.
Yeah,
it's bad.
Yeah, it's really bad. Like he hit him, so he took a nuclear weapon and he exploded over there, and they got mad at them. So what am I even talking about?
Yeah. I don't
what?
know.
Who is he? Who bombed whom?
Well, and sometimes they even switch it up to like who they're talking about in the middle of the pronoun abuse, and it's like, what the fuck just happened?
Yeah.
It's bad.
Well, I have some answers.
Okay.
So today, what we're doing to answer my own question is a Q&A.
All right.
Over First Maccabees chapters 8 through 10.
All right, let's do this.
Okie dokie. All right, we are going to do a Q&A over First Macadoodles, chapters 8 through 10, and I have a little bit of a surprise for you.
Oh.
Yeah, after we look at a little bit, just real quick summary of 8, 9, and 10.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk about Josephus a little bit.
Okay.
He's an early historian looking back.
Yeah.
And he wrote exactly like his writings of this is what helps corroborate it as historical events that actually happened.
Got it.
And he records the events, but in a different tone that really helps shape how you look at what happened.
Okay.
And I thought looking at chapters 1 through 10 from his perspective might give us a little bit of insight into what is happening and how it was viewed both at the time from the Macadoodles versus by other people like, say, Rome.
Got it. Yeah.
And it was really enlightening as I was doing this because Rome kind of popped in for a second and then like left the chat.
Yeah.
And we were like, the fuck?
Yeah, where'd Rome go?
So the reading a little bit about his take, Josephus's take on it, helps us understand that a little bit better.
Okay.
We didn't even know we had that question until I read this. So it's going to help.
Okay.
So I think that'll be interesting.
Yeah.
But let's start with chapter 8.
Yeah.
And in chapter 8, Judas looks west. Speaking of Rome, he starts thinking about Rome.
Yeah.
Okay. This is when Judas was still alive. He hadn't died yet.
Right.
Okay. Chapter 8.
For being stupid.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So chapter 8 is basically hearing of the rising power of Rome. So Rome was just starting to, rise up, rise up. I feel like I've been quoting Hamilton a lot lately. You'd think I've just seen it, but I haven't seen it in like 6 months. So
right.
maybe I just need to watch Hamilton again soon.
That could be. It's not a bad thing to watch.
Look,
so,
it's always time to watch Hamilton.
Right.
Yeah. Unless you're a person who doesn't like musicals, in which case I really don't understand you. I really don't. Because musicals are fabulous. Okay.
I agree.
I'm so glad.
Yeah.
I'm so glad.
I didn't used to believe.
No, but I made you a believer.
You did.
All right. So hearing of the rising power of Rome, Judas forges a diplomatic alliance to secure support against the Seleucid Empire. And remember, the Seleucids are the Greeks.
Yes.
At that time, that weird empire that was like Alexander the Great, and then he died and split into 5.
Yeah, but that even became a little bit convoluted to me because we're talking about the Antiochuses, and then we're talking about whatever the other dude was.
This Greece versus that Greece.
Yeah.
And that is kind of why there was so much upheaval and turmoil in the world at that time.
Got it.
They weren't just confusing to themselves, they were confusing everybody else too.
Got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's happening in chapter 8 is that Judas Maccabeus hears about Rome and its military success. Rome is described almost mythically. I mean, it's still described mythically today, honestly.
Oh, yeah.
Like ancient Rome, we talk about almost romantically.
Yeah, when you think of ancient empires, the Roman Empire is
one of them.
One of the biggest.
Yeah.
That's definitely...
Yeah.
The one we think about.
The Romans, the Greeks, and the Egyptians are like right up there at the top of the ones that you consider.
Wasn't there a thing on TikTok for a while that said that guys think about Rome daily or something like that?
Yes.
I don't think that that's true for me.
But a lot of men...
apparently that's a thing?
Yeah. A lot of men commented yeah. And I was like, whoa, babe, do you think about Rome? And you were like, what? And I had to explain the whole concept and you were like, no.
Yeah.
Question mark?
Rome might cross my mind once or twice a year, just in because it's culturally relevant,
and
right?
because you appreciate history.
Yeah. So
it's going to be something that pops up.
But and that might be a little light, just because Rome is everywhere. I went to school at a school known as the Spartans, right?
Oh yeah, that's true.
It's just that case. Technically, I kind of thought about it daily when I was at school,
but
right?
not
in a direct sense.
Yeah.
So,
the Spartans weren't Roman, to be clear.
Yeah, they were.
Were they?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Sparta.
Yeah, it was one of the groups. There was different groups of Romans, but yes, they were definitely one of the Romans.
I thought they weren't.
They were.
Okay, probably you would know it better than I would. I don't know. Okay. Yeah. So. You would have thought about that, but
right, but
more the mascot of the team mascot,
right? And we have Roman E pluribus unum on our money and symbols, and there's it's pervasive in our culture.
Sure.
So it does pop up. It's just not something that I spend a lot of time thinking about.
Right.
Why would I think a lot about Rome? That's
why would
really
any
weird.
Man think about it was so arbitrary. My kid, thinks about dinosaurs regularly, but that makes sense because that's a common trait in autism.
Right.
And so, they call themselves a dinosaur autist.
Right.
Which tracks. So that made sense to me, but not Rome.
Right.
I'm like, where does Rome play in on this?
Yeah, I don't know.
So Judas Maccabeus hears about Rome and its military success, and it's described almost mythically. Rome is disciplined, powerful, and hostile to kings because, they don't have a king. They have a different kind of ruler, which is king-like, but whatever. Yeah. So Judas sends envoys to Rome to form a treaty of alliance, which that is not how I understood that chapter. I thought that Rome sent dudes to Judas. So clearly I misunderstood the he's and the they's and who went to whom.
Right.
I had that exactly backwards.
Yeah.
So Judas sent people to Rome, and Rome agrees and writes a formal treaty protecting Judea.
Sure.
So, and that was almost it. Judas reached out to Rome because Judea was still under threat from the Seleucid Empire. So they were looking for large and powerful allies.
Sure.
And Judas knew that Judea was small and vulnerable, so they needed some outside help. And Rome was a distant but very powerful leverage where they could say, don't make me use this weapon.
Right.
Like, kind of like this invisible, like, button on a nuclear weapon that like is way over there, but that you could call on maybe kind of.
Right.
So one important note is that Rome does nothing immediately. This was totally based on diplomacy, not like boots on the ground.
Sure.
Okay. So again, it's that distant threat of a war, not like an actual, no, they are here to help us.
Right.
Okay?
They're just like, yeah, sure, we'll be your friend.
Yeah, why not? So that's chapter 8. Okay. Chapter 8 was about Rome.
Okay.
And we remember that because then we kind of don't see them anymore.
Yeah,
We were like,
Rome just disappeared.
they left the chat and I don't know why.
Right.
So then in chapter 9, Judas dies and the movement kind of fractures for a minute.
Okay. Yeah.
So Judas is killed in battle, the rebellion falters, and leadership passes to his brother Jonathan, who shifts strategies toward political negotiations, which that is, I love that phrasing because like you specifically picked up on that immediately saying, oh, this is politics now.
Right.
And yeah, you were totally right. That is exactly what's happening.
Yeah.
So in chapter 9, what's happening is Demetrius I, which is the Seleucid king, he sends Bacchides, his general, to crush the rebels, the rebel alliance. Judas fights Bacchides at the Battle of Elassa and then is killed in battle.
Because he was dumb.
Yeah. Judas's brothers retrieve Judas's body and they bury him. The brothers bury Judas.
Right.
Okay. Many rebels, including Judas's followers, flee. Okay. The movement loses momentum because of this. And see, I was confused about all of who flied, where did they flee, what?
Yeah.
So it was Judas's followers that flew. Okay. They ran away.
Yeah.
And the movement lost momentum because of that. So then Bacchides instills pro-Seleucid officials, he pursues the rebels, and he persecutes supporters of the now dead Judas. Okay, so they ran away, and Bacchides was like, I don't give a fuck. I'm going to find you.
Right.
I will follow you to the ends of the earth, and I will kill your ass.
Sure.
Okay?
Yeah.
Now, the lawless, quote unquote, are Jewish collaborators aligned with Seleucids.
Got it.
Okay? So that's what the lawless is.
Right.
And we kept like knowing that, but still feeling like, what? I'm so confused.
Well, there was things that were happening that weren't real clear because of all the they, them, and the he, him, and you know, like it was just like.
Well, and they would refer to the lawless, but never exactly told us who the lawless were. We kind of had to glean that, which wasn't easy, as you said, because of all the pronouns.
Right.
So specifically, the lawless are Jewish collaborators aligned with the Seleucids, the Greeks. Okay. Now, one important note is that when Judas died and Jonathan took over with his going political instead of like violent, that was a hard reset on policy in general. Judas was the charismatic war hero, and without him, the revolt nearly collapsed.
Well, yeah, he used to win in one sentence.
Yeah, he won.
All the time.
Like Judas fought. Judas won 10 wars. The end.
Right.
Like, whoa, that was quick. Details, please. Yeah. So when Jonathan took over, it wasn't just that Judas was dead and now we've got a new leader and everything continues. It was no, the war hero died. His brother took over, but his brother was not a war hero. He was more interested in strategy and trying to just make some peace, maybe.
Sure.
Okay, so that was a hard reset.
Yeah.
Okay, now chapter 10. This is Jonathan survives by politics, not force. Okay, and that's where we see all these deals start being made where we're like, the fuck?
Yeah, well, it bothered me why they were all seemingly like trying to get the Israelites on their side, right? Like just a minute ago, Bacchides was sent by the king Demetrius I to go kill Israelites, and now Demetrius I is trying to like give them everything to stop them from siding with Antiochus or whatever.
Yep.
So
like everybody's fighting over them, and that is exactly what happened.
Okay.
So Jonathan is playing rival Seleucid claimants against each other.
Sure.
Okay. And that's why they were fighting over him, because each one was trying to gain any allyship it could in order to say, no, see, I'm the rightful king of the Seleucids.
Right.
Whereas really they were all the rightful little rulers of their own little sections. If they all would have just chillaxed and just been happy with what they had, it would have been okay.
Right.
But instead they were like, I want mine and yours and yours and yours.
Right, right.
So he played them all against each other, gaining military authority and legitimacy while at the same time strengthening Jewish autonomy.
Okay.
Which was really smart.
Yeah.
So it's almost like his brother died at a really strategically prominent time.
Right,
You know?
right.
So that not only could the attitude change and the movement could change, but the leadership could change to handling the new setup.
Right.
So this is where we get really confused because there's so many new people. Okay.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. They just kept introducing people like out of the blue all the time.
Yeah. So let's go over real quick. Okay. Jonathan was Judas's brother, and he's now the leader.
Right.
Okay. Demetrius I is the current Seleucid king.
Got it.
Okay. Alexander Belas. Alexander was the rival claimant to the Seleucid throne.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
All right.
Remember, I kept calling him Alexander Hamilton?
Yeah, yeah.
And we were like, but not the Great.
Right.
Not Alexander the Great.
So this guy, the Alex guy, was separate from either Antiochus and or Demetrius. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. And then Bacchides is the Seleucid general that we met in chapter 9, whose name I loved.
Who did he work for, though? Demetrius?
He worked for Demetrius.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So here's what's happening step by step. Okay. Jonathan takes leadership. He's not as flashy as Judas. He's more cautious and diplomatic. He's more into policies and diplomatic agreements.
Right.
Okay. Two kings are competing for Jonathan. We've got Alexander trying to claim the Seleucid throne, and we've got Demetrius I, who's the sitting king. And they both want Jonathan's support.
Oh, so Alexander is the one that's related to Antiochus. Is that right?
I have no idea.
Okay. I kept saying Antiochus, but it was just Alexander and Demetrius is what it was.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I apologize. That was my bad. But I seem to recall that Alexander was like related to Antiochus.
That may be true. I honestly don't know. But he felt like he should be, for whatever reason, the ruler. And so he was trying to take the throne from Demetrius I.
Yeah.
And so they were both fighting for Jonathan's allyship.
Okay.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Alexander makes the better offer, which you and I disagreed with at the time.
Oh, yeah. Alexander gave him the fucking purple robe, right?
Yes.
And Demetrius gave him like fucking everything.
Demetrius gave him everything except one thing. And it's the one thing that was made the better offer.
Okay.
Alexander appointed Jonathan as the high priest. He gave him official authority in Judea.
Oh.
He sent royal insignia, the purple robe and the crown. So he didn't just give him like a promise of money and a promise of good times to come.
Sure.
Which would have been awesome in and of itself, but he gave him something today. He gave him, you are now recognized by me.
As in charge.
As in charge of your people.
Got it.
So, like, you and I did not understand that that's, like, it said, yeah, he sent him the crown, and we were like,
Sure.
big fucking deal. What's that?
Yeah.
Like, who cares?
Right.
And so we thought that was the weaker deal, but now we understand why Jonathan saw it as the much greater gift.
So the implication was that it was all those other things because you're basically Alexander was granting him freedom from him.
Yeah.
Like, basically, you're an ally. You're an
equal.
You're an equal.
Whereas Demetrius was saying, you're still under me, but I won't exact charges from you.
Sure.
I won't tax you. You're still my guy.
Okay.
Underneath me.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we did not understand.
No,
that
we
at the
didn't take
time.
that correctly.
Well, was hard to understand. Like, why should we take that correctly?
Right.
So I don't feel like that's on me. I feel like the Macadoodles did not spell it out correctly for people thousands of years later.
Right.
Which, again, why should they?
Yeah.
They had no idea that this shit would hold.
Right.
So Jonathan accepts the crown, and this is huge. The high priesthood is now politically appointed, not hereditary.
Okay.
So that was a big change.
Yeah.
Okay. Because not only was it politically appointed, not hereditary, it wasn't even politically appointed, not hereditary through the Jewish people. It was from an entirely outside source of people.
I don't know how I feel about that. Because, like, isn't it supposed to be, like, the line of David, technically, if we're going to be going forward a little bit more here? Mm-hmm. So if it's a political appointment, then that negates that whole idea.
And that explains why the Jewish people do not hold with the Macadoodles.
Got it.
Because they're like, excuse the fuck out of you. That's not the way that works.
Right.
I'm glad it worked out for you eventually in the end and for us, but that's incidental.
Right.
This is not correct.
Yeah.
So
I'm sure they work it somehow to where they could make Jonathan a distant relative or something of David, but
I have no idea. I don't even know if Jonathan is referenced later in the Bible.
No, I'm just saying if they wanted to include it, I'm sure they could find a way.
Oh yeah, they totally could
to make that work.
Yeah,
like why you can always invent hereditary things from thousands of years ago because no one cares or no one who's going to follow up with that.
Who's going to argue?
You just say
if you want it to be true, who's going to argue?
Right, exactly.
Yeah. So he's now like basically the high priest of the Jewish people.
Sure.
He gains legitimacy and protection.
Okay.
From his, new ally.
Yeah.
Okay. So we've got a little bit of a pronoun decoder here. Okay. Where it says he wrote a letter. That was Alexander wrote a letter.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
When it said he countered with better terms, Demetrius I, tried to send stuff, but then Alexander, gave him the crown.
Right.
So which going
there is no better. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They gathered to him. That's Jonathan's supporters gathering to him.
Because they're like, oh, you're in charge now.
Yeah.
Yay.
Oh, somebody else outside of us said that you're cool.
Yeah.
Now we think you're cool too.
Sure.
Yeah. And his enemies withdrew is the Seleucid aligned officials.
Oh.
They backed off.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So.
Because, I would imagine because both of them were trying to court him. So they're like, well, let's get you guys out of there so we can at least make it look like we're trying to be nice to him.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Here's why chapters 8 through 10 are really important in this whole mishmash and why I'm really glad that we stopped.
Okay.
Hammer time. Take a look and listen. Okay.
You just combined Vanilla Ice and MC Hammer.
I did.
Okay.
And I said take a look instead of collaborate.
So that was like Vanilla Hammer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really was.
All right.
Yeah. These chapters mark a huge transition point in the entire Macadoodle story.
Okay.
Okay. From before, we had guerrilla warfare, religious resistance, and a charismatic martyr in Judas.
Sure.
Okay. Now we've got lots of political maneuvering and backdoor meetings and greetings and dealings.
Right.
We've got legitimacy through empire, which that's huge, and survival via compromise. Okay.
All right.
And Jonathan is not in any way a lesser version of Judas. He's an entirely different guy.
Sure.
Like he's just a different leader entirely.
I feel like that deal that they made with Rome earlier is a little bit of foreshadowing as to how they end up under Roman control.
No, it totally is. It totally is. And we will see how that comes to pass. But yeah.
Okay. Right.
Eventually Rome will come to call,
Right.
They're going to say the bill is due.
Sure.
Yep. So Jonathan is operating in a world where brute force alone no longer works. You've got to know how to negotiate.
Right.
And Jonathan is really good at it. Now, one really important subtext for people like us who are trying to read this in a historical context.
Yeah.
By chapter 10, we see the foolish Hasmoneans. Remember, we talked about them a little bit, and I kept calling, I was like, henceforth they shall be known as the foolish Hasmoneans. They moved from religious rebels to statehood builders. Okay. And remember, they were called the foolish Hasmoneans because they were naive and trustworthy. They just were like, yeah, come on into our city.
Right.
We believe you won't kill us. La, la, la. We're just like Care Bears. We don't know anything. And yesterday doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Which is why I kept calling them the foolish Hasmoneans.
Sure.
So they went from religious rebels to state builders. Okay. The high priesthood became entangled with imperial politics.
Okay.
And that is a big deal because, as we already pointed out multiple times, it used to be hereditary.
Right.
I almost said heretical, and I was like, no, that's the wrong word. So thank you for filling in my blank.
Yeah.
And this sets up later Jewish discomfort with the foolish Hasmonean dynasty.
Okay. Yeah.
In other words, victory comes with moral ambiguity.
Sure.
So we don't even know. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the 8, 9, and 10 recap. So we have a very much better understanding of what happened.
Yeah.
But let's put First Maccabees, the first 10 chapters of that, next to how Josephus recorded it.
Okay.
And you can actually see Josephus doing historiography in real time as we compare the two.
Okay.
He smooths, reframes, and occasionally just sands off any sharp ideological edges. And there's a reason for that I'll get to at the end of my little definition here. Okay. Now, First Maccabees was written close to the events in the late 2nd century BCE by, the Maccabees or whatever.
Right.
Okay. It's pro-Hasmonean, but not naive. And it focuses on military detail, treaties, and internal Jewish conflict.
And pronoun abuse.
Yeah. It's very analytic, meaning the annals. This happens, then this, then this. Like, it's just a record.
Yeah.
Yes, painted more in their favor, but still just like a recording of what happened.
Sure.
Okay. When Josephus is writing, he's writing 250 years later or thereabouts.
Yeah.
Okay. He's writing for a Greco-Roman audience. So he's writing for an audience in the first place. And his audience is the people that the Jews were at war with or in agreements with or in negotiation with.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's two reasons right there.
Or currently occupied by even.
Yes.
Because
exactly.
Right.
So Josephus is personally invested in making the Jews look orderly, rational, and ancient, while simultaneously making Rome look benevolent and inevitable.
Sure.
He used First Macadoodles as a resource, but he rewrote it. Okay. Just to reframe it, change the tone a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay. He's not inventing history, he's curating it because the Macadoodles was not his only source that he referenced.
Sure.
Okay, which is what makes Josephus a fantastic historian for today when we're looking back.
Right.
Because he did reference multiple sources, which is cool. But you also just have to understand his audience and why he's recording what he records the way he records it.
Right.
Okay. So here's a comparison of the record of events just for the first 10 chapters. Okay.
All right.
The tone from the first Maccabees is urgent, gritty, and partisan. The tone from Josephus is polished, explanatory. He's not breathless. He's after the fact. He can afford to be like a little more explanatory. His sentences can be a little bit more sentencey.
Right.
You know?
Yes.
He can take a minute to not use pronouns.
Sure.
Okay. With Antiochus IV Epiphanes, okay, the first Macadoodles, they record him as being aggressive, sacrilegious, deliberately oppressive, rude. You know?
Right, yeah.
Josephus records him, he's still bad, but he's more impulsive than evil. And he's acting out of political instability.
Okay.
Which I'm like, okay, I can see that.
Sure.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Okay, Mattathias, he was the first Macadoodle.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Mattathias is seen by the first Macadoodles as he kills a Jew offering sacrifice, a royal official. His acts are framed as zealous and righteous violence. So he's a murderer, but, it makes sense.
Yeah, good cause.
Good cause. It doesn't count as murder because
cause, yeah.
Because cause.
Right.
Yeah. Josephus sees Mattathias' violence as explained, justified, and softened. he reframes civil war as a tragic misunderstanding, not an ideological fracture. So the first Macadoodles are like, yeah, he did this, but it was justified and blah, blah, blah. And he killed him and there was blood. So they record it probably the way it happened, but they try to justify it. Whereas Josephus is like, yeah, that happened, and here's why, and it counts, but, there were reasons. And so he was just, like, taking the historical, like, he's not emotionally invested.
Yeah, I'd be interested in what that other, like he said it was a tragic misunderstanding. I'd be a little bit curious to know what the misunderstanding was about.
Right, exactly.
But
yeah, this made me interested in, like, as a side project, reading Josephus someday.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So let's talk about Judas. Okay. Who is dead at the time that we start reading. Yeah. And, by chapter 10, Judas is dead.
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So first Maccabees see Judas as a near mythic war hero. He's a brilliant tactician. He's a charismatic leader. He's kind of presented as chosen by God implicitly, not prophetically.
Right.
Like there's a little bit of sense that there's like real power behind him. He's led.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
His battles are detailed, bloody, and specific, and his victory leads to temple rededication, which is where we get Hanukkah.
Okay. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, Josephus reports Judas as being noble but restrained, heroic but less ferocious, less revolutionary. His battles are summarized. There's the temple restoration that's emphasized more over warfare.
Okay.
So he talks more about the importance of Judas rather than the warfare that Judas engaged in.
Yeah.
Josephus tones down the guerrilla brutality and the sense that Judea is constantly on the brink because rebels don't play well with Roman readers.
Sure.
Roman readers don't want to read about how people under them rebelled because it makes them uncomfortable with their leadership.
Yeah. I would imagine the leadership doesn't want to read that either because people rebelled and they're like, hey, maybe don't write about that because we don't need any of that.
Let's downplay that.
Yeah.
What do you say? So with regard to the expansion and the internal Jewish conflict and strain, the first Maccabees recorded as explicit and ugly. They say the Jewish forces attack neighboring regions and they relocate Jewish populations themselves.
Okay. Yeah.
Their internal enemies, like the lawless men, the collaborators, are actively hunted and executed. So they're kind of harsh to themselves, you know? Josephus kind of softens or even minimizes this. Expansion is described as defensive and protective. Internal Jewish violence is minimized and recast as law enforcement. And Josephus reframes ideological purges as just restoring order. No bigs.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah.
We didn't chase them to the ends of the earth or anything. It's fine.
Right.
We kind of killed them, but they were, upsetting the law.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So Rome enters the story, and this is one of the most revealing differences between the way the two are recorded. Okay. Or between the way the two record events.
Yeah.
Okay. With the first Maccabees, Rome is portrayed as ruthless, anti-monarchical. So they were really against kings in other nations.
Yeah.
Okay. They were powerful, but morally ambiguous. And they were treated as a distant power, and the treaty with them is distant, almost symbolic.
Sure.
And they had no divine endorsement. Okay, that's how the Macadoodles view Rome.
Right. Now,
Josephus sees Rome as a providential ally, wise, law-respecting, almost benevolent. The treaty from Josephus's perspective is framed as validation of Jewish legitimacy and a sign of Rome's fairness. And this is deliberate because Josephus is writing under Roman rule. Rome must be ancient, just, and inevitable.
Sure.
Okay. So that's a really big deal when we see the way these two both present the same pieces of history.
Right. Yeah, I mean, if this is like any other, the winner writes the story, you know, like, so Rome is at this point when Josephus is writing the winner.
Exactly.
And
but it's still cool to see because the Macadoodles were victorious in their time. So we're seeing two different victors of war still recording history differently because they were victors of different wars.
Well, and at the time, Roman was victorious also. Like, it wasn't like they were nothing at that point in time. So they were just not
Involved
in that portion of the land,
yeah.
you know? So,
yeah. But that's what I mean. Like, they were both victorious, just in different parts of the world.
Yeah.
So seeing them record history that happened at the same time is really cool.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the death of Judas, the way they see it as compared. Okay. The first Macadoodles see Judas dies outnumbered, abandoned in a tactical disaster, and the revolt nearly collapses.
Right.
So the way they record it is very raw and bleak.
The Maccabees.
The Maccabees, the Macadoodles.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're like, this sucks.
Yep.
Okay. Now, Josephus views the death of Judas as honorable, inevitable, less humiliating, with an emphasis on his legacy and virtue. Josephus does not want martyrdom narratives that would inspire revolt.
Right. So
he's good, but not like, let's go join his cause good.
Well, when he was writing that, I think the Israelites were under Roman control. So they're also trying not to insult Israelites too, because if you did that, then you would insult them, and then and that might cause more rebellion, more problems.
The Israelites are considered Jewish citizens or Roman citizens,
right? Yeah.
So he's got a hard boat to row,
Sure,
or a hard row to hoe.
Sure.
Okay, so let's talk about the way they both viewed Jonathan the politician.
Okay,
right, that was the brother of Judah.
Yeah.
Who were both Mattathias' sons.
Right.
Okay. Jonathan is where Josephus really starts massaging history a little bit. Okay. The first Macadoodles view Jonathan as being one who survives by diplomacy. When Jonathan accepts the high priesthood from a foreign king, that causes the high priesthood to become politicized.
Right.
And this is presented without moral commentary, which is kind of telling.
Yeah.
You and I commented on that. Well,
there's not a lot of moral commentary throughout Maccabees so far.
Right.
So,
right.
I mean, that's not necessarily
they're not telling
itself.
But they're not telling it from a Jewish perspective.
They're really not.
Even though they are Jewish people.
Yeah. That aspect of this book is missing completely.
Right. And it makes it really understandable why it wouldn't be included.
Oh yeah, no, the difference between this and everything else we've read so far is glaring. It's distinctly different.
Yeah. So when Josephus talks about Jonathan as the politician, he sees the appointment as legitimate and as presented as restoration, not innovation. So making him king or making him high priest is like putting things back the way they should be.
Sure.
Okay. Political maneuvering is reframed as prudence and God's providence from Josephus's perspective.
Got it.
Okay. And Josephus normalizes what first Macadoodles leaves morally uneasy. So, that's what I mean by massages the history a little.
And I feel like that a little bit would be to Rome's benefit to say that is the way, because if you can politically install a leader of Israel, right, and they're kind of in charge of Israel, and you politically install someone as leader, then they're in charge. And if you further that narrative, then people will be more likely to believe that and trust in that.
Exactly.
Right? So that's more of a political statement than anything, in my opinion.
Exactly. Yeah. But again, I would just really be interested at some point reading Josephus's take on all of this. I think it might be more readable, more digestible, and more interesting than the Macadoodles.
Right.
So Josephus is really juggling three pressures. Okay. He's got the Roman audience, which we talked about. The rebels are dangerous and Rome has to look just.
Yeah.
You know, they can't look at things as Rome being unfair.
Right.
Because that is not what Rome wants to see.
Right.
But he's also dealing with Jewish legitimacy. High priests need to appear continuous. And there's also the fact that civil war is embarrassing to leadership.
Sure.
So he's got to downplay all of that. Then he's also got to deal with his own biography. He's a former rebel, which I didn't realize.
Wait, who's
Josephus?
Really?
Was a former rebel who is now a Roman citizen. He knows how revolts end. So he preserves the facts, adjusts the framing, and removes revolutionary energy.
Interesting.
Yeah. So he's got like all these different things he's got to balance.
Yeah.
Which I just found so interesting. The first Macadoodles are performing revolutionary memory when they're writing their story.
Yeah.
Okay. They're writing a story that says, this is how we fought to survive.
Sure.
Okay. Now, Josephus is performing post-revolt damage control. And he's writing a story that says, this is how we responsibly governed ourselves back then.
Right.
And those two differences could not be more obvious by chapter 10.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that answers a lot of questions about where we are and what the fuck is happening by the time we're at chapter 10. What happened to Rome? Where did they go?
I am very curious how Rome is going to further enter the picture. You know, like that part does interest me at this point.
Me too.
And
because we know from history and from what little we know about the Bible and Jesus-y things, we know that
Rome's there.
Rome's there. Rome takes control. Rome poo-poos the Jewish story that Jesus is the son of God.
Right, right.
So, yeah, we need to figure out, but how do we get there?
Sure.
From there to here, from here to there, funny things are everywhere.
All right. Did you have anything else to cover with that, or was that...
That was pretty much it.
Okay.
Do you feel like that answered some of your questions, or did it leave you with more questions, but an eagerness to read to find out?
I honestly don't think that I don't think that all my questions could ever be answered.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like, every new answer we come up with for something just creates 20 new questions for me. Mm-hmm. But it does enough, right? Like, at some point, you just have to be like, well, we can't stay in chapter 10 of First Maccabees for the next, 5 months.
Especially when, like, the Macadoodles aren't even part of the Bible reading that we're doing, for the most part.
But, I mean, I could say that about anything we've covered, right? Like, I mean, there's so many rabbit holes that we have discovered that we may never pursue.
I know.
Because it's just, there's so much.
Josephus may be one of those, and that makes me sad.
Sure. But like, if I were to go back and re-listen to all of our podcasts, I'm sure there's just hundreds of those. Yeah. And it's sad to me a little bit because I'm like, well, we're covering this in detail, but like not all the detail. No. There's so much more.
We're just like glancing over it.
Right.
And everything we like turn our gaze to, we have to forcibly turn our gaze away from.
Yeah. I mean, you and I have talked about the fact that we could spend the rest of our lives going over this stuff and never get it all covered. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's why we kind of just jump back into reading, because we're like, well, we got to get this shit done. Yeah. So
we got to get this shit done. And that's why we decided we need to re-up how often we read per week.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And if we need to cover some stuff, we'll cover it in, 5 more years when we finish stuff.
We'll see.
All right. Thank you guys for joining us. Don't forget to join us on Tuesdays at 10 p.m. Eastern on Discord. The link for that is always in the show notes. And if you can spare $1 or $2, hop over to patreon.com/sacrilegious discourse. And for just as little as $2, you can get these episodes earlier than anybody else.
And it goes a long way. You can't even know how much it helps.
Yes, definitely.
We're always grateful for, the littlest bit. Thank you.
Definitely. Thank you so much. All right. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Hey, wife, I guess that's the end?
But husband, that's just sad.
It doesn't have to be. We are on lots of social media platforms like Twitter. Our handle there is sacrilegious_D.
For D's nuts.
Oh my God. Stop doing that. Anyway, we're also on Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest. There's a link to all of our social media sites at our website.
Ooh, we have a website?
Yeah, it's sacrilegiousdiscourse.com, where you can also find a link to our merch shop.
We have a merch shop?
Yep, we have podcast-themed clothing, mugs, notebooks, and more, as well as an atheist and science-themed products.
Wow, our fans should really go check that out right now.
Definitely. They can get in touch with us by sending an email to sacrilegiousdiscourse@gmail.com. But before they do that, we could really use some help.
Oh yeah? With what?
Well, it's not free running the podcast, and we need some financial support in order to get better equipment, which will free up time so we can concentrate on our podcast and our fans.
Okay, so what should they do?
Head over to patreon.com/sacrilegiousdiscourse and sign up as a contributor on our podcast. Supporters there receive additional bi-weekly episodes that we record just for our Patreon members for as little as $2 a month.
Also, we'd really appreciate it if you would like and subscribe on whatever platform you're using.
And Apple Podcast reviews help us out tremendously.
Like and subscribe. Leave an Apple review. Join us on Twitter. Support us on Patreon. That's a lot of instructions. Don't forget to say thanks.
Thanks.
Okay, bye.